alongside my co-host Andres, waving the Venezuelan flag. Congratulations, my guy, winning the WBC 3-2 over the United States of America, man. Andres, how you feeling, my guy?
Man, I'm feeling great. uh, no, man, it's just absolutely incredible. The tournament run, the teams that we faced, but man, first ever World Baseball Classic Championship title, absolute insanity. Just to borrow a quote from Alejandro Moreno from ESPN FC, "Vamos Venezuela!"
I love it, dude. I love it.
Yes, sir.
I love baseball too. Obviously I'm a big Astros supporter and stuff like that, and it's I like the tournament. And I like the fact that it's growing. Obviously, it's not like the World Cup or anything like that, or like the Olympics. But it's getting up there, and then the atmosphere is up. It's fun, man. I mean, like obviously I've seen the Dominican crowds, the Puerto Rican crowds, the obviously Venezuelan también. Even the Italians showed up a little bit.
Bro,
You know.
wasn't no joke. Like everybody thought it was gonna
Yeah,
be a
man.
joke, but
So
they reached the semifinals. That's
what I
insane.
liked is that there was a little bit of Astro representation in all the teams. So I think, to be honest, like when you have an intensity, a tournament of that intensity to start off the season, I think it only fares well for those players because they're already in the flow of things. Instead of it just being spring training and you just kind of working on mechanics. Like right now, these guys that just played, that they've been at it. They've been going at it as far as like high stakes and stuff like that. And obviously like especially the Latin American clubs, they take it seriously for sure.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited to see how those players fare, especially to start off the season and see who gets off to a hot start. Hopefully, a lot of our Astro players do, and all that stuff as well. But I mean, but hey, we can talk baseball on this show from time to time as well, but obviously our main dish is soccer, and not just soccer, but Dynamo soccer, and obviously coming off of a great come from behind win against. Sorry, my thing went
Point
out here real
Timbers.
quick. Yeah, sorry. Against the Portland Timbers. Um, what a great game! I mean, like it's crazy how a couple of minutes of soccer can change the whole fortune for a club, or the way you look at a club, right? Because we discussed this the last week on the show. Like what they're gonna go in there with two players that they're counting on, that are gonna be out for the game because due to suspension, and obviously we already have a short bench to start off with, and obviously the first three games were at home, and obviously we got to take advantage of the home games and collect as many points as we did, and not have a repeat of the LAFC game, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then obviously, Portland, they come in here and they want to right their ship as well because they're not doing too well as well. And Phil Neville might not be the Portland Timbers coach for too long here after this is going on and stuff like that, depending on how they keep faring. And it's just it's a great outcome, a great result, and especially after all the adversity that we've been dealing with. Unfortunately, we ended the game with 10 men. We'll get into that as well later on in the show. But our two DPs, man, showing up big. I mentioned here last week on the show that I wanted Matias Borges to have two goals. I predicted a 2-0 win. It wasn't that, but he did score a goal and he provided an assist to Guillermo to score his goal. So, obviously he was involved. Guillermo scoring his third goal of the season, third goal in 3 games, which is a great start to his Dynamo career. And then our Brazilian wonder kid, Felipe Andrade, coming into his debut, our scoring defender who scores outside the box, man. And just it's incredible. It's incredible to see kids, players of that age, have that confidence to take that shot, especially knowing that they're not really supposed to be taking that shot. Ben Olsen made a comment about it in his presser that he didn't really want Felipe Andrade to take that shot, but obviously with what happened and how it went in, he was happy that he had the courage and the confidence to do it. So I'm glad that we have players like that who are willing to take chances and risk some chances, that are opposed to what the coaching staff normally wants them to do. Andres, I'll shoot it to you, my guy. Your initial thoughts. Obviously, how were you feeling? How was your reaction? Obviously, 105th minute game winning goal. It seems to be one of the things that we've been doing as of late. Um, we've been having a little bit of a little bit of sprinkle of these game winners the last couple of seasons that we can enjoy as fans. But your thoughts on this game against the Timbers?
The thing that I took away from it, and just looking back at the previous season, and we'll definitely chat about the circumstances of this game and whatever happened. But honestly, the main thing that I took out from this game is, imagine us going back to last year. We are losing at home 1-0 against a, either it could be a good team, it could be a bad team. You knew from last year that if the team was in this particular situation, they would either struggle to find a way back into the game, or let the game get out of their control and let the other opponents get away with the result, or just play not straight up dominate. This game was a different story, especially in the second half. This game not only showed that the team is just able to understand the problem, they definitely stood their ground, even though they had issues in the first half. But in the second half, I saw a much different team. I saw a team that definitely were finding a lot of solutions to the problems. They were opening up the game more, despite Portland getting 2 goals against them. And the main thing, I said this a couple weeks ago, is Mati Bogusz said settling well in Houston, because I was very concerned. But man, like that last goal, it tells you where he needs to be and where he can be. We saw the type of player that we need from him. Of course, he's a designated player for a reason, roster wise, but that's the difference maker we need. That's the type of situations we need from him to create more than anything, because nobody else on last year's roster was going to make that shot. You could argue Anali was going to make that run, and you could argue that in the right situation he could have made that shot, but Ponce was not going to make that. Now we have two options, Bogush and an already proven goal scorer in Guilherme. This is a type of team that we have been missing for so long, and I don't know. I was just honestly so impressed with how the team handled themselves in the second half, and also we get to the situation with like the send off and all that. But overall, I was very impressed, even considering the fact that Portland is not that good of a team. Any MLS team is good, man. Like, if they are in the right situation, despite a losing streak, or they make some changes, like parity is gonna hit at some point for everybody. So this is a good result for Houston, heading into a busy weekend for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the talent on our wings is far superior than what we had last year, right? And that's no disrespect to Inali and Kowalovic and Basi and whoever else played at the wings last season. But the fact that Guilherme and Bogus are not scared to go 1v1, are not scared to dribble the ball in, are not scared to shoot the ball when needed, and things of that nature. They go in there with full confidence and of their ability and what they're able to do. It just goes to show what kind of difference our offensive prowess can be once they get acclimated fully to Ben's system and everything is going, on autopilot, right? And obviously, the pass from, I think it was from McGlynn to Bogus to end the game, to for him to cross it back into the box and shoot that goal, and to shoot that shot to hit the game winning goal was just amazing to see. And obviously pandemonium, excitement, just overall, excuse me,
You're
excuse
good.
me there.
You're good.
Yeah, so I mean, it's what you want to see from fan base. You want to see a club that's not giving up. You know, it's like they say, it's not over till the fat lady sings, and the fat lady kept singing for 15 more minutes after the game was over, and they took advantage of that. And we came out with the win, 6 points out of a possible nine, two home wins of a possible three. And it's a great look. It's a great look. Obviously, like I said, the man of the match being Borges. I mean, like I said, we talked about it last week. We're getting to a certain point where we're a little bit worrisome about, like, hey, his involvement. How settled is he in Houston? It doesn't need more time. And things of that nature. Guillermo obviously had a fantastic debut, but was non-existent against LAFC. So it was just one of those things, just to see the quick turnaround, and obviously because of the DP tag that both of them carry, it's good to see them have a quick turnaround and get back to business of scoring goals and making it happen for the Dynamo. Anybody else that you want to talk about as far as the game? Anything else that you saw from the match that you want to kind of talk about? There's one thing that I want to talk about, but I mean, I'll let you get first dibs on it if you want to throw anything else in, or showcase another player from that match that might not be getting as much praise as obviously Borges and Guillermo are.
No, yeah, honestly, aside from them, I want to give a shout out to Agustin Resch, man, because he came into the second half. He did replace Diadia Samaseku, I believe, in the 69th minute. And man, like he doesn't look like a rookie, man.
He's
Like
a big boy, man.
he's
That's a
he's
big boy.
settling. Like obviously his physicality is gonna help his game, but honestly, just the fact that he's just been able to acclimate into the team this early,
Mhm.
even with the lack of choices that we have, like he's still showing up. Like in this game in particular, like he was able to contribute defensively. He was able to avoid getting a couple more goals against Portland. Well, for Portland, and honestly, just like he has been pretty good. Of course, Jonathan Bond having some pretty good saves in this game, so shout out to him as well because he definitely got us that win. So big shout out to him as well. And Felipe Andrade, no, yeah, man, welcome back, sir. I definitely miss you from those. He definitely balled out against those in his first couple games that he had there. And man, he's back. We needed him a lot more now. And honestly, shout out to the team in general because they hustled out. They pulled their hearts out for that win, especially in the second half. And obviously, the red card is try to make it a different story. The referees definitely try to make it a different story. But when I'm in the team, regardless of what happens with the refs or with the game itself, the team once again I pulled through. They were able to get 3 points at home, which is extremely important for us right now.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously mentioned Agustin Rech, rookie who realistically we didn't figure was going to figure that much, and he's been very important in the first, three games for us. Obviously, with the suspension of Antonio Carlos, and then obviously the Lucas Halter injury that happened during the game. He helped us out. And like I said, this kid is taking advantage of the minutes, and he's growing right in front of our eyes. And who knows, maybe he can be this year's Felipe Andrade, which would be a great thing for the Dynamo as far as, the youth movement going forward, because, obviously you want to have experience and you want to have veteran leadership, but, every club needs a certain amount of dosage as far as like fresh legs and youth to help you, through the dog days and all that stuff, because, it does, the MLS season is a long season, and we do have older players that certainly I don't want to have them see them play all 36 games. If they can, great, but I mean, but obviously you don't want them playing the full 90 every game. And I'm looking at Eric Shemerchenko. Obviously he's had to because Antonio Carlos red card or Lucas Halter being out or whatever. But I mean, but at some point, I would want him to maybe play 70, 75, get the other 15 to 20, rested, especially if the game is already in the books. But obviously we'll deal with the coaching staff and all that stuff. We'll deal with that later on. You mentioned you mentioned Felipe Andrade. Like I said, first game back, he was killing it at Dos. Getting his fitness levels in, and obviously him playing at Dos has really helped him out because he came out here full of confidence, like he did last year. Looked like he hasn't missed a beat, and like I said, what he ended up scoring, what, 4 goals for us last season. He might beat that. I hope he beats that total this year for a defender, and he gets 4+ goals this year. And another guy who I want to shout out that you didn't happen to shout out is Ache Ache, the
Right,
old
right.
man. The old man came in for Ponce at halftime, and to be honest, I don't know about you, and I know OSG. He has this thing about Ache Ache is gonna be here for his role and this is that, but like even though Ache Ache is older, but man, the team looks different when he's on the pitch. He's out there directing. He's out there telling these guys where to be, where they need to be at, and all this stuff. And the team just looks completely different. That might just be me, but I don't know. I think Ache is a good wild card to have off the bench, and I think he's gonna help us along the way. Realistically, obviously he's a champion everywhere he goes, including here, and I think that I don't know how many more times he's gonna be playing false nine, but at the end of the day, I think the club does very, very, very well when Achacha is on the pitch, and I continue to hope that he has a full bill of health to continue playing the role that Olsen needs him to play. And I think that's basically a player coach on the pitch while he's on the pitch. So, shout out to Ache and the contributions that he's made coming back. Obviously as a more as of a bench player instead of being our superstar player. But shit, we still see him as a superstar. So at the end of the day, it's what the fans want you to be, and that's our guy. That's our guy, regardless of what's happened in the past or whatever. That's our guy. So shout out to Ache. Anything else you want to talk about the match before we move on? We'll obviously get into the red card from Markinich because we obviously got brand new unfortunate news on the red card for Markinich. The MLS disciplinary committee has come down and has extended his suspension not from 1 game to 2 games now, and an extra amount of money on fines. Your thoughts on the play? I saw the play. I didn't think much of it at the time. Obviously, when the game is in at the time that it's on, you're not really worried about everything. You're worried about trying to win the game, and obviously going to man down wasn't something that we wanted to see. But obviously, with everything that coincided afterwards, you kind of forget about the marking at your red card, and you're looking towards the positive. But I mean, but after I had time to look at it, I looked at it. Obviously, I think some part of his foot hit the goalie's face. I don't know who initiated the contact, and obviously the pictures afterwards of the goalie's face coming out doesn't look too good. But this is football, and things like that is going to happen. Your thoughts on the red card and whether you think it was fair or unfair, or are the refs coming after the Dynamo again?
I felt that red card this time was was good, and I'm only saying that by the letter of the law because based
Mhm.
on the replays that I've seen and based on the angles from that replay, I could definitely tell that obviously Nick was going for the ball and the
Mhm.
keeper dove in the direction of the ball to the point that he was able to get onto Nick's range. And unfortunately, his foot did clash with his forehead, or like, not all of his foot, but at least part of his foot. And obviously, if you hit a player in that magnitude, of course, it's going to be a red card. My main issue is the extended suspension because he was
Mhm.
suspended for an additional game and he was fined for leaving the field way too late. And my main issue with that is that the keeper dove towards the ball. The keeper was getting himself into danger, and obviously, Nick's intention was not to hit the keeper that way. The keeper clearly contested that ball, and it was not his intention to engage into that type of violent conduct. I can definitely see in one circumstance why, in a, outside of that context, why that would have been an issue of potentially extending an additional game. But Nick obviously didn't want to hit the keeper. He wanted to hit the ball. He was going
Yeah.
for it, and the keeper was trying to grab the ball. And it's just insane to me that if you, as a referee and as not even as a referee, a disciplinary committee, if you as a group that comes together and sees that and has seen stuff in the past that warranted an additional suspension but hasn't done that, and you look into this direction and you see a player going for the ball and because of the circumstances warrants another game being suspended, that is insane to me. I'm not a referee, man. I know it's a tough job, but that's just insane to me that every single week since the start of the season, every single week there's always an issue with the referees. It's a tough job. It's tough, but
No, it's tough.
at the same time, this kind of stuff happens every single week. We have to question the referees' decisions, the referees like just the way of thinking, and it's just extremely disappointing for me.
So to go back, to go back to what you said earlier in your statement was, the letter of the law is that in that situation, it garners a red, right? And by what he means is that in that situation when both players are going for the ball, especially going against the goalkeeper does have the right to go after that ball more than the attacking player, right? So if the play it's on the attacking player to move out of the way of the goalkeeper coming after the ball. Now, if the goalkeeper does something where he extends himself abnormally from the actual player going to grab the ball, then then the call can be against the keeper. But the keeper does have the right of way to go after that ball, right? So with that being said, I agree with the red card under the letter of the law, right? Now, I agree with you as far as like, giving him another game on top of that plus an additional fine. I don't agree with that because obviously I don't think and you tell me if I'm wrong because I'm not familiar with Markinich's career up until him being a Dynamo player. I don't know him as an aggressive player. I don't think he has any kind of reputation as a dirty player. So with obviously this being a soccer play that unfortunately obviously ended up with the goalkeeper getting hit by the bottom of his stubs. That's just seems like a rough soccer play. He got the red card fine. You suspend him because he says it's a full blown red for the next match. Okay, great. But me, I don't understand why the extra game. You know, I would hold that for players who are quote unquote dirty players who have a reputation of doing things of this on a normal basis. And like I said, to my understanding, to my knowledge, Markinich isn't a dirty player. He isn't that type of player. Now, as far as the extra fine for the not leaving the pitch on time or taking too long, like I don't understand what the time limit is, especially when as a ref you have the option to go look at VAR because, like, say for example, if he leaves and then VAR reverses the call and he's already in the locker room, I mean, you got to go chase him down to go bring him in, you know, and so that doesn't make sense. So like, I don't. Do you? start counting the clock after VAR has checked it. But then how does the player know when VAR has checked it already? Like I can't just say, okay, I get the red card, I'm going to go to the locker room, and then it gets reversed, and then they're chasing me to go come back, and then it's a whole thing. Like you have to have a better understanding and a better communication on that aspect. Now maybe they do have it. I just don't know it, and if you know it, Andres, obviously let me know. But I don't know what the exact amount of time it is to protest. And then on top of that, if it's a situation where it does go to VAR, am I notified once the VAR check is done? So that way, if it's against me, that can go, or if it's reversed, I can stay. Like, what's the time limit on that? You know, because at the end of the day, obviously, look, the game's already in the 100th whatever minute. You know, I'm not trying to extend the game. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm there. If I'm not given a straight red, then I'm here to continue play in the game. So me as a player, I want to continue. But if it's up in the air whether or not I'm gonna get a straight red or if it's gonna be reversed, I'm staying on the pitch until I know for sure. You know. And then after you tell me, I want the explanation, because at the end of the day, I want to know what I did wrong, so that way I don't do it again, or it doesn't happen again in case the situation comes up again. So that way I know it's like, okay, hey, this is why you're getting a straight red. So like, but again, it's it's a tough job to be a ref. I get it. It's always one of those things. The human element is always going to affect the outcome of certain things. And obviously the referees left us with a bad taste in our mouths from the LAFC game, and it's an unfortunate thing that it had to carry over to this game and back to back games and stuff
It
like
never
that. And
ends.
obviously the referee from the LAFC game posting on his socials about my bad or my mistake didn't help the cause either or whatever. So I mean, it's just one of those things. But at the end of the day, thankfully, it didn't cost us this game. We pulled up the W, we got the win, all that good stuff. And then obviously next week, this Saturday we'll have Antonio Carlos and Chica's back for the Texas Derby and all that good stuff. So that's good news to look forward to. But before we get into that, obviously we had a couple of injuries, and obviously we'll know the update on those injured players tomorrow. I'm assuming, Andres, and that's of our Brazilians in the back, Lucas Halter, and our Argentine forward, Ezekiel Ponce. Now, the Ezekiel Ponce, I might have misheard. I'm not sure, but I think I heard that the reason why he got taken off in halftime because he got nicked up again, or he re-aggravated the injury that he had prior. What's going on, Paul? Welcome in, man. Welcome in. What did it do? But so I'm not too sure about that, but obviously we'll hear about the update on Ponce. But the one that obviously we're worried about significantly is Lucas Halter, because obviously our defense is depleted. It's a small group right now. We do have Antonio Carlos coming back, so that's a good news. But anything? Have you heard any updates on Lucas Halter? Ben said it didn't look good. I don't like the sound of that. Your thoughts?
Might be an extended amount of time that is missing, and hopefully we'll get like a much better update tomorrow during the press conference. But I don't I don't expect him to play this weekend. Hopefully very soon though. And Ponce, I hope it's not as bad as we think. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's concerning. A lot of injuries now and a lot of suspensions we have to deal with, and balance things. So like it's crazy season already, and we're up going to like the fifth week of the season.
Yeah, the suspensions is not helping out on top of the injuries, but like I said, obviously, Agustin Bench, like we mentioned earlier, has stepped up. The young Argentine defender stepped up in the big way. So obviously he's able to back up Antonio Carlos, who's coming back off suspension this weekend. I'm sure he'll be back as our captain alongside with Shevchenko, and then obviously Felipe Andrade and Dwayne Holmes. I'm assuming still keeps starting gig. I'm not sure. We can talk about that if you want to once we get back once we get into the Texas Derby debate. But yeah, man, it's one of those things where you want to have all your players available, man. You don't want them out, especially for something dumb like suspensions. Yet personnel. Hopefully, you have the right personnel available to you to get you going. But yeah, but speaking of personnel, uh, news came out earlier today that Nelson Quiones is no longer with the Dynamo, which opens up an international spot and lets go of the number 7 shirt and on the Dynamo. Andres, obviously, unfortunately for Nelson Quiones, the injury he acquired wasn't during a Dynamo game. It was during a youth game with Colombia, and he just never seemed to recover quickly enough to get back to the Dynamo, um, to make an impact. Your thoughts on Nelson Quiones as during his Dynamo tenure, and just what do you think was finally the last straw that broke the camel's back to make this decision to let Nelson Quiones go? And do you think that the Dynamo will be making a signing before the end of the transfer window here next Thursday, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, the MLS primary transfer. Well, the transfer window does close next week, next Thursday to be specific. But honestly, very extremely sad with the situation involving Nelson Quinones. Obviously, it's been like about 2 years since his injury that really changed his trajectory permanently. And for me, it's just really sad because like he had a ton of potential. Like for a Dynamo, especially when he was just starting and absolutely balling out. Like like he was obviously he's a kid, but he didn't look like he looked like a beast already, and he was already with the team for a couple seasons by then. But just sad that he wasn't able to, is having a lot of setbacks on his road to recovery. Of course, it's already been a long time, but having that injury, that it wasn't really like just an ACL injury, but it involved his knee because his entire, I don't want to get graphic, but like his entire leg just got messed up, and not his leg, but more of also his knee, and it's just disappointing because he was a player that I saw a lot of potential in, and a player that could have done great things with Dynamo. Unfortunately, it had to be done because it's already been 2 years. 2 years been sidelined. 2 years being obviously like more so that period on the road to recovery, but unfortunately, is suffering setback after setback, and it had to be done. Unfortunately, he was covering an international spot, which I'm sure is going to be taken care of by at the end of this window. Ash already mentioned that they're working on deals by the closing of this window, but we'll have to wait and see. But honestly, I just wish Nelson the best of luck with his recovery. I hope he gets back to full health, and whatever he ends up playing, I hope he balls out.
Yeah, man, it's an unfortunate, especially for a young player, especially for somebody, because I remember we had such high hopes for him coming in last season, especially because of the end of the prior season, how well he was adapting to finally playing starter minutes, and and being involved, right? So, it's an unfortunate thing. Obviously, injuries like that happen, and for anybody who's ever dealt with an ACL or anything, or any of the CLs, it's a really damaging injury, because it takes you off of your legs for a while, and it weakens that leg so much, to the point where when you're finally ready to go and train on it, and get it on the road to recovery, everything else around it has weakened as well. So it's not only you're trying to fix your ACLs or whatever, but now the muscle around your knees and your calves and all that stuff has to be basically regrown and retrained again too as well. So I mean, it's an unfortunate thing for him. Obviously, hopefully, he has. Hopefully, it's just a minor setback for him, and he goes back to. I'm sure he'll be going back to Colombia, and a team picks him up, and and he's able to do his thing and be given another opportunity elsewhere as well. So shout out to him and his people. That obviously appreciate the good times that you gave us and the Dynamo Kid and all that good stuff. And you know, it'll be good to see what Asher and Pat have in mind for that international spot, and obviously with a couple of days remaining in the primary transfer window, what who they could be looking at. And they say, I mean, from what I'm hearing, from what I'm being told, there should be one more signing at least coming in. Maybe even possibility of two. So we'll see what happens with that, and and hopefully it does come in because, like I said, we need it. We need it. It's not whether or not if, but I mean, you look at the bench of the Dynamo compared to other teams. Like we're missing three players. Like we're missing three quality players on that bench to compete. It's never a good bench when you have two goalkeepers occupying two spots on the bench. To back up. It's not a good look. So we do need some signings. We do need some reinforcements to make sure. Especially with the suspensions and the injuries that were accumulating early in the season. So, what's going on, guys? I see y'all coming in. Seeing y'all chat. Jay Hurt, what's going on, my guy? Welcome in, welcome in. But yeah, man, it's an unfortunate thing for Quiones, um, player with a high ceiling, but unfortunately injuries derailed his Dynamo career. But like I said, we're always, forever orange, and wherever he ends up with, hopefully he does big things with that next club, and he's able to continue his soccer career. But yeah, man. Anything else you want to add to the Nelson Quiones thing before we move on, Andres?
No, man, just the best of luck for him and whatever he lands. I hope he balls out. Um, and yeah, like it's out.
Yeah, it's a sad thing, but we have the Texas Derby to look forward to this Saturday. Andres, our first away game for the season, and it's an
Finally,
FC finally, and it's an FC Frisco. We have a bus full of supporters going up there as we normally do for each match against Frisco and Austin. So we'll be looking forward to seeing those guys hopefully showcased on television, making loud noise supporting the club. I'll be a part of that supporter group that's going to be going up to Frisco. So I'm looking
nice.
forward to seeing a Dynamo victory up there as well. Um, but yeah, man, Texas Derbies obviously when they come early or come late or coming during the season, they're always important. The Clásicos are always played with more passion and more grit because of the hatred between the clubs and the rivals. And obviously, look, man, when you're the only club in Texas to win MLS championships, heavy lies the crown, and everybody's coming and everybody's gunning after you. And you know, Frisco wants to beat you, and I understand it. And I understand that those guys they want it, but I don't know. They can't. They just can't get there. But it's all right, man. Texas will be forever orange, and we know how that goes. But your thoughts, man? Are you looking forward to this first, derby match of the season? What do you expect from the Dynamo as far as, like I said, obviously we do have the suspension of Markinich, but he's a backup player. We do have Chiquis and Antonio Carlos coming back. And what do you expect from the Frisco side? I don't know how much you've had an opportunity to review those guys and what they're up to, but obviously they played 4 games and they're a point behind us at the current standings for right now going into Saturday's game. But your thoughts? Peter Musa continues to score goals. Their DP. I think he's the top goal scorer of the league at the moment with 5 goals in 4 games, if I'm not mistaken. So he's a dangerous guy to look out for. But I mean, but aside from that, your thoughts on the Texas Derby, Andres?
Man, this is gonna be a crazy game. Honestly, like I look back and I've been watching FC Dallas for a bit because I was just looking into this game. I was just trying, hoping to scout them just to see how they're doing, and hey, they're doing pretty good. They are they are definitely scoring goals. They're conceding a bunch too, but considering that they're facing really tough opponents, especially San Diego, where they were able to tie back in Frisco, and just being able to secure those leads, to be a point ahead of us with a game with us with a game in hand, like really, like I feel like this is gonna be one of the wild ones for sure. And obviously, fans have already been arguing on Twitter, especially the search, chirping back and forth with FC Dallas supporters because apparently they're not going to be allowed to bring in instruments to the stadium, which sucks. And they also raise the prices for the tickets, which also sucks. But man, this is going to be a huge game, regardless where you put it. The Texas Derby is always going to be the Texas Derby. And I think in the chat, IOLXS is asking if it is my room where I'm sitting right now. It is. It is my room. I do have like a slightly bigger room after I moved houses this past December. So I definitely have tons of room. I'm only missing my scarf although because in the previous one I had like a ton of scarves on the wall, and that's the current thing I'm missing right now. And some posters here and there.
Yeah, man. Obviously Texas Derby is one of those matches that you look forward to as far as a Dynamo fan, because obviously you look forward to seeing when you're gonna where we can go up there and fuck things up in Frisco, and obviously when the Austin game is at and all that good stuff. So it's a good time to go up there now, especially coming off the win that we had against the Timbers. So we got, like, obviously a lot of momentum going up there. Um, we got our first win in Frisco in a long time last season. So I mean that's obviously it'd be nice to go back to back years winning on their home turf as well. So that's obviously something to look forward to. Like I said, man, it's just I'm like having the little bump in the road, obviously, of the rescheduled New England game. It was a little bit of a little derailment, but I mean, obviously, because of how this past game ended and how much thrill there was, I'm just excited, man. Like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing Borges and Guillermo just continue on the path that they're continuing on. McGlynn is looking good out there. He's assisting the ball. I think McGlynn is up to like 3 or 4 assists in the season already, which is great for him, and his potential trying to make the World Cup roster. Obviously, I think he's probably he's outside looking in, but I mean, but you never know until it's time. It's time. He still has an opportunity, and he wants to, and I hope that he does everything possible to throw his name in the hat and possibly get one of those last remaining spots to represent the USA in the World Cup. So, Miguelin, I think he's gonna go out there and ball out. I mean, some of those passes he's been doing, man, like
Oh yeah, that
chef's
last one.
kiss.
Yeah.
That especially that one to Borges, man, was beautiful, beautiful. So that guy is doing everything he can. Obviously, look, as a Dynamo supporter, we're gonna take advantage of the fact that he's motivated and he wants to, for sure try to make that USA men's national team. So we'll see what happens with them. So I mean, like I said, look, those two look good. McGlynn looks good. Like I said, Chiquis is coming back. Antonio Carlos is coming back. Who's our captain? Felipe Andrade is looking good. So I mean, it's like I said, we have the team rolling. They're looking good. The defense, like I said, is a little shaky. We need to stop leaking goals a little bit. But I think we can take care of that. Peter Musa obviously is not going to help that with him leading the league in scoring. But I mean, but I think if we can shut him down, I think that's basically our full focus there. You know, because at the end of the day, I don't think Frisco has that much as far as attacking. I mean, but like I said, hey, when you have that number nine who can just put the ball in the back of the net, sometimes that's all you need. Ask Man City, But
Yeah, and I wanted to add FC Dallas, like regardless of what Peter Moose is doing, they're still finding the gaps in the final third, and it's going to be a game. If Houston wants to get a result out of FC Dallas, it's going to come down to the back line. Thankfully, Antonio Carlos is coming back, and I'm sure he's going to be all over Musa or whatever he has to do. They have to find a way to neutralize all those opportunities for him to go forward or you just find an opening because They're gonna be all over Houston. They're gonna pressure Houston all over, especially being on their home. And and yeah, man, like it's gonna be a game all about defense.
Yeah, and obviously, this game is a lot riding on this game, even though it's early on. Obviously, like I said, Clásicos, you don't those games mean a lot more than just regular season games, and this puts a gap between you and FC Frisco. I mean, you win this game, that's 4 points ahead of those guys with a game in hand. So, I mean, that's always good to put those guys in the rearview mirror and not have to worry about them along the way and continue the positivity of winning. Look, that if we win, that'll be 3 games, won four opportunities, and you continue rolling. And it's that type of pace that we need to keep having the guts to go get. Having the ambition of knowing that, hey, regardless if we're home and on the road, we're gonna go out there. We're gonna play our style of soccer, and we're gonna go for the win. Now you have players who can create their own shots, who aren't scared to go 1v1, and are able to take over the game individually. Like, what more can you ask for? You paid money, you invested money this season, and up to this point, they shown their skills, and you want them to continue that because, look, Borges, he had a great game last game, and a round of applause to him and all that good stuff. But I mean, but we can't just rely on him for one game, and that needs to be a constant performance of great performances, like for what we pay for him and what we are entrusting him to do. That needs to be like that needs to be on the
Yeah,
regular, and not just at home. It needs to be on the road too. That's where you differentiate the good DP players from the great DP players, because the great DP players are able to do it at home and away. You know,
that's the
uh,
minimum expectation, honestly, for Bogush.
for sure. And then Yedman as well. A great three games at home, 3 goals, great start. But now let's see what you can do on the road. When all the fans aren't there, let's see what you can do against a full crowd, and let's see what you can do in your first classical. So, but like with any other match, like I said, it's great to go into depth with what can happen and all that stuff. And obviously, the great thing about it is predicting the game score and who's going to score the goals. And that's what we're going to do right now. Andres, I'm going to come to you, my friend. Texas Derby, first road game of the match. What is your prediction for this Saturday at 7:30 at Houston Dynamo's second home away from home?
Mm, I got I got a 2-2 draw. I feel like it's gonna be heated. I feel like it's gonna be very well contested in between both teams. And I do have Bogush, and mm, I do have Bogush and Jack McLean scoring.
Borges and Michelin score, not a bad option. 2-2 tie, so I'm assuming Musa's going to be a handful.
I'm sure. Uh, I say he has a goal, and somebody else scores the other one.
Got you. I want to go a little bit more positive, a little bit more optimistic. I think I'm going to go 2-1 Dynamo. Um, yeah, I like 2-1 Dynamo, and I think Guillermo continue his scoring torture, and I think he gets his fourth goal of the year. And I'm gonna go Borges. So I think a Borges Guillermo 1-2 punch. I'm not like I said, I'm not sure what's going on with Ponce, if he's available or if he isn't or whatever. But obviously if he's not, hey, who do you think starts for at the ninth spot, especially seeing what Achacha was able to do? Uh, that's what Rodriguez asking. Who do y'all think Achacha might start? I don't think he starts in the midfield because Chicas is back and things like that. But I mean, could he possibly start for as a false nine?
If you want
Andres?
to plan out for a game with Achache just playing the first half, I feel I feel like just having as a false line in the second half might be the best. And of course, you already mentioned that Busal is coming back so I'm sure he's gonna be playing. So yeah, I feel like whoever's gonna play number nine, I feel like it's gonna be Guilherme, assuming that Ponce is not coming back, and they're gonna have to play around with the wings. Hey man, is
Yeah,
Aliyu coming back? Is Aliyu coming back, man? Like
Ali,
it's
you
all about
man,
Aliyu, man. Like
that's crazy.
if he scores, if he starts for plays and scores, like it's just man, like we're
That's
it's gonna be bad, man.
that's something else to look into, right? Too. I mean, obviously with everything that happened the last game, and obviously Aliyu, the news of Aliyu returning was like the ups and downs of like, oh man, what the hell are we doing, or this is now, or welcome him back, and hopefully he's improved. But like we haven't even spoken about the guy, and he might be starting this game. Who knows? Do you think Dwayne Holmes has done enough to keep his starting spot as a right wing back?
I mean, I think it has still, and if we have to go back to him starting and then having Aliyu replace him, I feel like that's still viable. But yeah, like it's yeah, I really when I said Aliyu like being a forward, I mentioned that as a joke because there's no way he's gonna be up
Nah,
top. Like there's like we cannot risk that.
there would have to be a significant amount of injuries and suspensions for that to happen. So, I mean, hopefully it doesn't
No,
go down that
I
road.
don't
But
want a red card here. That'll be miserable.
nah,
No, I'm tired.
yeah, but just I mean, obviously, Paul Ash, we need another striker. Ponce isn't it? But I mean, obviously, what are your thoughts? Obviously, Mark Mitch is not available because of the red card. But like Linger he's only had the opportunity with that 45 minutes against LAFC, but obviously it was cut short because of the red cards. Do you give him another go if Ponce isn't available? Is he basically that backup number nine right now? And I mean, because like I see him more as a second striker or a cam, but I mean, but obviously you play him where you play, where you're needed at the moment for the team, and as a false nine, I mean, he can do a lot, especially with Guillermo and Bogus playing at the level that they're playing right now.
And really just thinking about the game and just thinking how they and the options that we have, the players coming back and Marcanic being missing. I feel like every game is just a different situation, like a different test for the team as a whole. Because like it's just insane how much we have to adapt to the situation and just go out and get a result, especially now, potentially without Halter and obviously without Marcanic coming off the bench, like it and Ponce. So like it's just sad. But
Yeah, yeah,
this is MLS.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you gotta take the opportunity when it comes. And right now, if Ponce isn't available and Linger's given an opportunity, Linger needs to take full advantage of that. And unfortunate for him, he hasn't been able to, not due to his inabilities, but just because of the incidents that's been happening around him. Dago says Raul Jimenez contract is ending soon. Hey, look, that's once we get to the summer and World Cup starts, and obviously that starts whirling around. We'll talk about that stuff, possibilities and things like that. But you know, um, after this year, there's going to be a lot of strikers available, a lot of big name strikers, not just Raul Jimenez. So I mean, like, there's plenty of opportunity. And like I said, like I mentioned at the beginning of this season, when we first started this season's shows of Noodle Time, that this is going to be a make or break year for Ponce. You know, um, whether or not he continues with the Dynamo after this season will be determined on whether or not he is the number nine that can score goals, and obviously being given the help that he has been given on the wings, it would be it seems that we've given him players who are able to provide distribution. But like I said, Ponce has been a little bit nicked up as of late these couple of games, so he hasn't been 100%. And he's only had one or two shots on goal, and unfortunately, one of them was a gimme, and he missed that. So, but we'll see. The season is long, and at the end of the day, if the season he ends up with 15 goals and like 7 assists, I can see him coming back as our number. well, our number 9, we're in the number 10 next year. But if he has a failed season is again, especially for the money that we paid to get him and the money that we're paying him, this could be his last season. And obviously, there was a lot of rumors floating around, a lot of clubs in Argentina and Brazil looking to get him to buy him. And obviously, like I said, at the end of the European season, there's going to be a lot of number nines, a lot of well-known number nines available for purchase on a free or lowered set or lowered transact or lowered
Transfer
what do you
fee.
call it? Yeah, fee, a transaction fee or whatever. Um, but like, but like I said, that's a question for later down the road. Right now, Ponce is our number 9. You
And
know,
people in the chat already calling for Raul Jimenez, so better watch
yeah.
out.
Hey, I mean, look, Achi post something on his Instagram. People take it seriously. Look, like I said, look, you bring players like Achi like that for a reason. The connections that he has to players around the world, who's played with him, who's played alongside him, not just on his national teams, but his teams with Porto, Atletico, Toluca. You know, you never know. Like I said, it's one of those things where connections and friendships can go a long way to bringing players into the club. Pepe Pineda, what's going on, bud? Welcome in, welcome in. Inferno, what's going on, my guy? Looking forward to see you on Saturday on the bus. I see Dago,
Inferno, yes sir.
Paul,
If
what's going on, guys? What's going on? Appreciate y'all guys coming in, uh, checking in on us on the chat. But yeah, man, I go 2-1 Dynamo against Frisco. Hopefully that's the case. You say a 2-2 tie. You're a little bit on the conservative side, but yeah, man. Anything else that you want to add before we end up at the end of the show?
no man, like this is gonna be an insane game. A lot of things can still happen, and but this is gonna be a huge test for Dynamo early in the season. Like Dallas is no slouch. Like I said, they have the capability of getting those high scoring games to get them back on track, regardless of their defense. So we're gonna have to watch out. Inferno asking in the chat if this is the Lego World Cup trophy. It actually is. uh,
Oh, nice.
yeah, I love Legos since I was a kid, and whenever they announced the World Cup trophy as a Lego set, I was like, this is mine. This
How
is
long did
mine.
how long did it take you to
And
build it?
I was actually like impressed because I thought it was gonna take me like a couple days, but it took me like 5 days to finish it because like there's like so many details like and
Yeah.
it's the structure inside it's insane.
Nah,
But
5 days still 5 days, man. 5 days still
yeah,
5 days. So it
I
looks
had a lot
good.
of fun though.
It looks good. It looks good. It looks really good, actually. That's
Um,
what's up, man.
and just a shout out to Dynamo Dos, man. They're absolutely destroyed Portland Timbers too, five to
Oh
zero
yeah.
last weekend, man.
Shout out to the boys.
Well, like first of all, the new one of the new Brazilians, Arthur Souza, got a goal and an assist, and actually got an assist for Matthew Arana. And bro, even Jamani Bell, Dynamo Academy graduate, to score the fourth goal. Also, Austin Brummett, and man, even Vinicius scored, man. Vinicius, our Vinicius, not the other Vinicius, for our Vinicius, Vinicius Silva. He did score the fifth goal, so that was an insane game. And I believe they are now playing on the road against. Oh yeah, they're playing North Texas SC, so FC Dallas is MLS Next Pro team on Saturday, back in Sabercat Stadium. So if you're in Houston, get your tickets. It's gonna be at 5 p.m. at Sabercat Stadium. Tickets are free. And yeah, man, go those 3 games, 3 wins.
Nice, nice. Shout out to the boys out there dominating and demolishing these opponents. So, well, with that being said, guys, look, man, we appreciate all the support and all that stuff. We appreciate you in the chat. But Andres, let the guys know where they can find us.
Yeah, man. DynamicFoxshow.com. Like OSG says, at dynamicfoxshow.com. Only because that's also our handles for all of our social medias. But dynamicfoxshow.com is going to have all of our content in one place. If you want to watch or listen to any of our podcast episodes, that's your place on any device. If you want to read our Fox in the Box blog, it's right there. We are working on getting the picture gallery up very soon, so stay tuned to that, and we are upgrading it over time as we go. It's a big project that we've been working on for a while now. So we do appreciate you guys visiting and giving us feedback. Um, and also, just shout out to everybody that has engaged in the chat tonight and giving us comments, and everybody that has been watching it live, even. So, Dago, Wiz Cheese, Pepe Pineda, Inferno, Paul Rodriguez, IOL Access, and shout out to Jay Hurtado as well. Everybody that has been watching, once again, thank you so much for your support. Make sure you are liking our videos, liking our episodes on the podcast platform you're listening, and make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. We are 23 subscribers away from 400 subs, so we'd appreciate if you make sure you are subscribed to our channel and let your Dynamo and Dash fans friends know that we are here and we do have a ton of content to offer you guys on a weekly basis. And I want one more thing. Dash do kick off the season this Saturday at 3 p.m. at Shell Energy Stadium against Boston Legacy. Get your tickets now. I believe the lower bowl is gonna be full pretty soon, so get your tickets now. It's gonna be a good
Nice.
game. The girls are gonna go out there and kick some butt. They started the season last weekend. They did beat San Diego Wave 1-0, and they're gonna come back home and they're gonna represent the city. So make sure you get your tickets. If you haven't already, as soon as the game ends, you can go to the Dynamo Dos game at Sabercat Stadium, right next to HSP. So, man, a lot of soccer for us this weekend in Houston and Frisco.
For sure, guys. And like I said, I want to piggyback off that. We appreciate the support and the love that you guys have given. Like you mentioned, 23 subs away from 400. Once we get to 400, we're doing a big giveaway, which will include some legend autos. You know, some legend autos. I'm collecting these autos from the legends. I
Yes,
got
sir.
Wayne Barrett. I got Wade Barrett. I got Boniek Garcia. I got Pat
You got a
Onstad,
lead yet?
and I still got more to collect, man. I still got more to collect, and once I collect them all, it's gonna go away to a special supporter of ours. So hopefully that's you. But with that being said, guys, um, looking forward to celebrating a Dynamo win in Frisco. I will be on the bus. For those who are going to on the bus ride with us up there, or whoever's meeting us up there, let's cheer loud and proud and show those guys who the real team in Texas is, and that Texas is forever orange. So let's hold it down, whether we're in Houston or in Frisco. We're gonna hold it down for H Town, and let's get that win, baby. Go Dynamo, go Dash, go Dynados. Shout out to Venezuela. Let's go,
Always.
baby.
General, y'all.